Sunday again, Sweeney TV, Sean Swiss Sweeney here, live from the headquarters. As always, it's 6 p.m, Sweeney TV time. So, hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I hope barbering's been brilliant for you guys. So, I'm just going to add Allan now, Great British Barbering Academy educator. I'm just waiting for Allan to join the chat now. And here he is.
Hello.
How are you, Allan?
I'm very good.
How is Newcastle?
I'm very good, Sean. Newcastle's very cold at the moment.
Very cold. I know. It's been a bit down in Wales today. Yeah. So, just a brief introduction on yourself, Allan. How long have you been cutting hair, and when did you start?
Hiya. My journey started many years ago now, Sean. I was 15-year-old and I first trained as a hairdresser, and I worked in Newcastle upon Tyne for Saks Hairdressing. And I was very, very fortunate. At the time, I didn't realise this, but I worked with some very, very, very clever and very, very talented hairdressers, which I took for granted at the time. But I worked for Gary Hooker at Hooker and Young. I worked for Gary. I was Gary's junior for 2 years, and then I was also worked with a guy called Nick Irwin, who's gone on to do great things down in London now. So I was mentored by some great hairdressers, and that's kind of where I started my journey. I left hairdressing when I was about 19, and I went into barbering when I was 19. I did 4 years as a hairdresser, which served as great, which was excellent for me as a foundation base. I thought, just as I went on with hairdressing, I thought, don't know if it's going to be for the rest of my life. And then I found barbering, which then I just completely found my niche and thought, this is for me. And then I started barbering when I was 19. Got my first shop when I was 23. Worked through the first shop for many years, just through the short back and sides period, and then eventually went into college lecturing many years later, and then went to work for the GVBA as an educator for the GVBA, and then opened Allan Stone Male Grooming, and it's kind of just gone on from there. That's kind of where we're at. Brilliant. So how long have you been in the industry altogether now, Allan? I don't want to give you I started when I was 15, so that'll be 20 years. Now I'm only joking. 30. I'm 45 now, so that's 30 years I've been in the industry. 30 years. That's brilliant.
That's brilliant, my friend. So, going into your sort of day-to-day routine, sort of, how do you sort of, do your sort of day business, and then we'll talk about education. So, my week kind of goes. It's quite manic, to be fair, with the young family as well, so it can be quite testing. So Mondays I work in Stoney's barber shop. Tuesday I have as my day off with my little daughter because I get her on a Tuesday. Wednesday I teach at college all day. Thursday and Friday and Saturday I split the hours between the two businesses. So the other business that I have is a chair rental inside of a big hairdressers. So I tend to go up there and I split this with another guy that works for us now, one of my apprentices who comes up and helps. But yeah, it can be quite manic running between two businesses, and then college and a young family. It can be quite testing sometimes. But it's all good. It's all good. I like it that way. I like to be busy, Sean. I'm that kind of lad. When I'm sitting, I get into trouble when I'm sitting around. Do you know what I mean? I like to be busy, and I'm very, very fortunate that I've, like many of us in the trade who love what we do. I'm very fortunate to do a job that I really enjoy, and I don't look at work, and I've never looked at going to work as a chore. It's never an effort to get out of bed and go to work. So I'm very, very fortunate that way. Very, very fortunate. Yeah, brilliant. Well, going into my sort of first question with education. Obviously, an educator for the Great British Barbering Academy, and obviously you've got your own academy. Just sort of explain to any sort of youngsters out there the fundamentals of going into education, what they need to be learning, the standards, and anything which Stoney sort of you think should be in the industry, basically.
Well, for me, I think education, it's great. The industry is fan. Listen, don't get us wrong, it's fantastic. But when something's fantastic, there's always a 20% of it that's not fantastic. Now I see a lot of people now wanting to get into education, and I'm talking about kids that are like 22 and 23-year-old. Well, for me, as an educator, it's like any trade, because you got to remember, this is a trade that we're working in. It's a trade. So, to be an educator, I think you have to have at least 15 years experience under your belt. Because to be fair to you, I mean, we've got lots of talent. Don't get us wrong, we've got lots of young, talented barbers out there at the moment. You know, Carl Newsom, James J, Andy Dawson from Scotland. Loads of really good talent. But these guys, you know, they're on the front page of, like, you know, they're up there. They're doing photo shoots and they're doing really well. But I think to be an educator, I think you need, like, you know, at least 10 to 15 years experience under your belt of how to run a shop, how to manage people. It's not just about cutting hair. It's about managing people, managing your shop, managing your business, you know, doing things the right way, learning the right way, learning the fundamentals, learning the basics, like, you know, learning, you know, I see a lot of things now in young kids where client care has just gone totally out the window. And I think, you know, your bread and butter stops with your clients. You know, that's just where I'm at with education. I find it, you know, like we say, the industry is fantastically booming and long may it continue. But, you know, education is a key aspect of what we do, because we all want the trade to be better. We all want to be, you know, we all want to be regulated. We all want to be raised. You know, people ask me. I mean, when I started training years ago, I've trained a few shops in my area before I was a college lecturer. I was doing a few bits and bobs with other shops, and people say to you, "Oh, why do you train people that are, you know, shops that are in your area?" Because my belief is, you know, I see so many bad haircuts come into my shop, and because I love my trade, I feel that if any, you know, one of my clients wants to go to a different shop because I'm on holiday or he's in a different area and he can't get there, I still think he should get a very good haircut for a good price of anyone that he goes into. You know, like, I don't want to see people with bad haircuts. I want to see people with good haircuts. I want to raise the standards of the industry. I want it to be, you know, I want it to be good. So, you know, you know, the question is, if people say, "Well, why do you train them?" Well, if I don't train them, somebody else will. Do you know what I mean? So I've got no problems training other people to be, you know, if they want to be barbers, then I'll gladly, you know, sit with them, I'll educate them, I'll help them as best I can, you know, to as best that I can. I'm not saying I'm whatever, but, you know, I'm 30 years in the game, so I know a little bit. Do you know what I mean? If, you know, how to carry yourself, how to run a business, how to look after your clients, and basically how to cut hair properly.
Yeah, definitely, my friend. Well, like, going into colleges and stuff like that, I think the standards now, the last 2-3 years, have gone a lot better.
Yeah.
I would say that the education side of it needs to be a little bit more refined. I think the fading needs to be sectioned off as an independent module on its own.
Yeah.
Not just part of a barbering skill, because it is an acquired taste. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing is, you know, I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate, Sean, because I work for a college and I also work for. I mean, I'm in the public sector and the private sector. So when you're teaching in the public sector, which is the college learning, it's great. But you're teaching kids that actually haven't picked up a pair of scissors before. So I'm having this issue with some lecturers at college now, my colleagues, about, you know, on about fading, where I think fading should be like a level 4 or later on in your career, because, you know, like, all the kids want to do now is use a file shaver. They want to take it down to 0. And for me, when you're at college, it's hard enough to teach the kids just to palm their scissors, never mind to start fading. And they all want to fade, and it's all great. But when they leave college, you know, you need a few more strings to your bow than just fading, because, you know, day-to-day business, you know, fading is very popular. But what about your middle-aged guys who just want to, you know, we should be teaching kids just to do like a number 2 back and sides, trim the, you know, a standard commercial haircut, which is your bread and butter. You know, it's hard enough to teach kids that, never mind fading. And what you have to remember as well, in college time, you know, it says a year, they only have 2 terms. You have September to Christmas, and then Christmas to June. So it's only a 9-month course spread over 2 terms. It's not a great deal of time to be learning things like fading and this sort of stuff. So I know Adam Sloan, and I know Lee Stafford's got involved, you know, with the City and Guilds, trying to look at the modules that are involved with college education. But, you know, just keep it simple. Keep it simple for the kids, you know. And I think if you learn to fade with a 4, and, you know, even just coming down to a 1, the principles are there, but it's not as hard to do. It's quite easy to teach that kind of thing, rather than going in with your skin fade lines with a foil shave. I mean, you know, that's just, I think that's just a dynamic of barbering that should be taught later on. But whereas when you're in the private sector, when we work for the GBBU, you know, we're teaching kids, like, we're teaching fellow barbers. We're teaching people that, you know, apart from the traditional barbering course, we're teaching mainly hairdressers who have actually been around clippers and scissors before. So they kind of get it. And most hairdressers that we teach in the GBBA, that, you know, they can do a number 2 back and sides, they can do a number 3 back and sides, standard commercial haircut, but they want to learn to fade. But because they know their way around a pair of clippers, it's not as hard to teach them. Do you know what I mean? They know, you know, the dynamics of how to do it. It's not as alien to them, you see, so it doesn't take as long to teach them. So, you know, you get the beauty of both. I've got the beauty of both, but, you know, teaching kids is great. Listen, Sean, teaching kids that want to learn is great. Teaching kids that don't want to learn, it's just a ball ache, mate, to be honest with you. It's a ball ache. But, you know, at college, you know, when we teach the 16, 18-year-olds, you know, and I know now they're not all going to make barbers, but what you can teach them is that you can teach them some life skills, you know, how to talk to people and stuff like that. You know, they might go out and get a job somewhere else, but at least they'll be able to talk to adults. And I mean, some of the kids that come through at 16, they can't even hold a conversation with you because they've got no confidence and stuff. But, you know, they're always learning. But, yeah, the public sector and the private sector has its differences, but education I do love doing. I love passing skills on to people.
Brilliant. Well, going into obviously yourself now, you do show work. Obviously, I've worked with you myself over the years, and it's been great fun. What would you say the cons, the pros and the cons are? What's good and what's bad about the shows? Stone's life experience.
It's expensive.
That's very
it's
true.
Expensive. It is. You know, I think, you know, on that note, you know, we've always. In regard to shows, you know, we have Barber Connect, we have Barber UK, Pro Hair Live. Obviously, Salon's the big one at the end of the year, which is fantastic. The XL, yeah, you know, it's great. In the industry's being recognised a lot more now. I mean, I think I went down with the college next to us to my first salon a few years ago, and every time I go to salon now, there's more barber in there. It used to be like, it would be like 80% hairdressing, 10% beauty, or maybe 60% hairdressing, 30% beauty, and 10% barber. Now, it's changing, you know, but I think it's in its very early stages. You know, I'm very fortunate to work for some good brands. Mataki are a great company to work for me. They look after us really well, and you know, we do a little bit with Anders as well. Can't speak high enough of Anders. They're really good with me personally. But yeah, it's good. But you know, it's one of the, like I say, it's at the early stages where, you know, the barbering, you know, regarding shows and stuff, it's still taking off, I think. Companies are still taking off. They're still getting their heads around. They're still marketing. They're still pushing themselves out there. They're creating more money for themselves. And I think that might change as the years go on. I don't think it'll be as expensive. I think we might get a few expenses paid for, to put it that way. But to be fair to you, because I'm a nerd, because I love barbering, I love what I do. You know, that's all I spend my money on, Sean. You know, I like going down to shows. I like going down. It's my hobby at the end of the day. So I don't see it as a... You know, it would be nice one day to say, you know, well, we don't have to pay for anything. But, you know, that may come someday. It might not. But until that happens, I'll just carry on with the raid because, you know, I like being involved with the shows. It's a great place because that's how I met yourself. You know, you meet people. Meet people on the same wavelength as you, and you know, you learn the stuff I've learned over. You know, like I've been in the game 30 years, but like the stuff I've learned over the last, I'd say, 7 to 8 years, was great because I think 10 years ago we were all just sat in a rut of just doing short back and side barbershops. And you know, you have to remember, I left Saks Hairdressing at 19. You know, I was doing shows with Gary and Nicky when I was like 15, 16-year-old in London and Nottingham, Manchester. So that I kind of lost that. And when barbering became, you know, come back in again, it became popular. It was current, and you know, it was starting to get noticed. And we were at the shows and stuff. And we were putting out, you know, like last year I was at Pro Hair with Tony Hairsine doing the show for his Slickers collection. Was it his Slickers collection? Might have been, yeah. I think it was one of his collections. I helped him. You know, I was backstage putting hair pieces in, you know, doing hair up and stuff. And that was just stuff that I was doing when I was 15. So it's great for me. It's, you know, and I see Gary in now and Nicky. I've always been in contact with Gary, but Nicky went to London and I lost contact with him for a long time. And doing the shows at Salon stuff, I've actually reconnected with him now, and we're going to do some work, I think, next year together, and he's starting off all the anti stuff and everything. So it's been great, yeah. And like I say, it's great to get away, you know, and see your fellow peers, and you know, you get away to maybe 4 or 5 shows a year, and you go down, you have a few beers, maybe it's a lot of beers sometimes. But you know, it's just catching up and networking, isn't it? And seeing your fellow friends and what you're up to and how's work going, and you know, seeing you in the magazine this week and this, that, and t'other. So yeah, it's all good. I enjoy it.
Yeah, well, going on to magazine work now, my friend, that was one of my questions. What magazines have you been in, and what was your favourite one, and have you got any new features coming?
Yes, I've got a couple of collections coming up in the next couple of months. I've done a lot of work with Andrew at Barber Evo. Rachel's always great with me at Modern Barber. Actually, Rachel gave me my first ever photograph shoot, edited my first photographs, and when I look back at my photographs, actually they weren't too bad. When you look back, when you do your first one, it was like I hadn't done like a shoot for years, like since I was a young apprentice, to be honest with you. And then when I started doing it again, I got a real good vibe for it. I've got a really good friend who's a good photographer. So I work with him, and we bounce off each other, and I use his ideas, and I've done a little bit of work for Barber and V magazine, but kind of mostly Barber Evo and Modern Barber.
Brilliant. What would you say your favourite collection you've done? Like I know
I did
as well. So
I think kind of the collection.
Is it the photographer or the haircut?
It's a bit of both, really. This is my argument with him, because we see a lot of stuff now, and a lot of photography work is taken over. It's all about, back in the day when the magazines first kicked off, it was all about the haircut. It was just like, there were basically a lot of profile and headshots. Now we've got like location shoots. We've got Liam Oakes is doing wonderful stuff with a lot of barbers. We're doing, there's a lot of sets now, and a lot of camera work and colour work coming in now, and it's all about the full outfit. The full set from like a makeup artist. I mean, now when I go to a shoot, you've got to take a makeup artist with you. Your photographer there. You're there for like 6-7 hours. You might get 5 or 6 shots out of it. But if that's your passion, that's what you do. It's great. But I mean, I did a collection. I think a lot of my collections were based on my childhood. Growing up, I grew up in Bensham in the teams in Gator, which you probably won't know, but it was the arse end of the northeast. To be fair to you, I grew up around the Skinhead area, and I did a photo shoot for Barber Evo, and I did it based on the Warriors movie. So I quite enjoyed doing that. I went on eBay and bought all the outfits for the boppers and that, the Warriors outfits and stuff. I really enjoyed doing that shoot. It was really good. But I'd say the best one I've done so far was me block locking collection with Tony Hairsign last year. We did a really good one, and we introduced a lot of long hair into it, trying to keep away from like the short hair and the skin fades and stuff. Basically, just sort of like showing the barber world that you don't have to just do skin fades and short hair. We can work with long hair as well. So yeah, we hired a couple of models from Time Tees, and we went down to Marie Harkness Photography, where Sam Wall works. It's in Sam's shop. Sam Wall's got a photograph studio in the back of the salon that he works, which is owned by Marie. So we worked with her, a few models down there, and we edited. Tony did a lot of work behind the scenes and getting them out there in the magazines. We ended up going down to Creative Head magazine, took them first for her. Barber Evo took them, and then HJ took them. Hairdressers Journal, which has been now they took over Modern Barber, and we managed to get on the Modern Barber stage this year with a collection on Rachel's stage at Salon International, which has to be the highlight of my career so far, getting on the Modern Barber stage. So it was good. I enjoyed it. It's been really good. And I think as well, I think photographic work's great, and I think the fundamentals, your bread and butter that pays your mortgage is your shop, it's your customers. Yeah. Going out there and doing shows and magazine work is just a platform for you to express yourself. That's what you want to do, and that's fine. If you don't want to do that, if you just want to work in a salon and be the best you can and create a good name, a good brand for yourself, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Doing stage work and magazine work isn't for everybody. I see a lot of great barbers out there who don't do it. Then you look at like Robert Braid and Tom Baxter. Tom's doing amazing stuff for colour work. Robert's always been very innovative. Some of his shoots off his work is that Marty just like shoots the Marty off Mad Max.